Yeah, why do they have to ruin it? It makes no sense. There is no right way. That's the problem. Generic Control and the That Goes Me here, back with another Scott the Woz video. Today we're doing game titles, which was the most liked comment on the last Scott the Woz video, which was his newest video, which was the annual release, the second video I've ever seen. Apparently that was a big mistake because there was like reoccurring characters and storylines that I'm not supposed to skip. Nobody told me that when I did my first Scott the Woz reaction, so that's my bad. I do read all your comments, so leave them down below. You can check my reaction to the annual release. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. And if I continue to do these Scott the Woz videos, which you all seem to really like them, so I might continue them, there will be a playlist on my channel going in chronological order of when I've reacted to them. A lot of these games I've heard of, some of them I've never played, so it's going to be interesting. Basically, there's going to be a lot of games I'm like, yep, never played, nope, never heard of, and stuff like that. And a lot of people are probably going to have a really, really sad time, especially if you're new to the channel. I've never eaten an orange in my entire life, but I became a homeowner, which is kind of crazy, but thank you so much for being here. Shout out to the patrons because they get the videos there early at 11 to have a paywall on the channel. I'm completely against paywalls because if it makes you smile, not make you pay. I read every single comment, whether you're a patron or not, whether you're subscribed or not, but I hope you are subscribed as we are approaching 100,000 subscribers. But let's go ahead and jump into game titles. So let me know what the next one.
Scott here. Ever seen one of these?
Let me know. That's an E.
Nostalgia. You may be interested to know.
Let me know what the next video should be.
The other 84 letters of the alphabet came to be.
What's the stain on his?
I don't mean to brag, but
corner of his
let's
lip.
just say I couldn't ethically the inventor of the alphabet. That's right, my great uncle Ed. That's where the letter E came from. He invented letters. Why did he do it? Well, he was getting frustrated at not being able to name things.
Great Uncle Ed's invention of the alphabet. E.
Mr. Bones. It's Mr. Bones!
Why?
Okay.
What? When? How?
Eggs of Steel.
We all have to refer to a video game by its title at some point.
Hamster
you can only
Heroes?
get so far without it.
Give him rats.
So far, it's
Rats.
pretty damn far. That just shows how important a good title is, because without it,
Solemn.
I would have no
Tennis.
goddamn idea what this game was about. Titles are oftentimes
Oh,
conglomerates
got
of
Ballin's
words that sound
Wonderland.
nice together, but ultimately make no sense when you analyze them. Elden Ring? Nah. Old Circle. But we're so used to how games are titled now that we
I have
don't
never
think
played
twice
it, by
about
the
a game
way.
called Concrete Genie.
Never heard of it.
Naturally. So let's start by analyzing these things and how the most popular
Never heard
game
it.
series of all time's name makes no damn sense. Super Mario Brothers. What just came out of my mouth?
What's so super about them?
Game starring brothers Mario and Luigi.
Never played them.
Mario was obviously the
I'll
main
only
star.
play Mario
It
Kart.
originally comes into play when playing multiplayer, and they're super because one, the game before this one was titled Mario Brothers, and two,
How do you one-up
the
that?
Super Mushroom power-up transforms them into Super Mario and Super Luigi. So the title doesn't necessarily make any sense. It's just a checklist. So
Basically.
no wonder they dropped the Brothers moniker a bit in. Retroactively, Nintendo did confirm that Mario and Luigi's last name is Mario.
So Mario,
Their
Mario,
parents.
Mario,
But I don't
Luigi.
think they thought that far ahead when titling this game back in the 80s. Honest to God,
I mean, there's a
this
news
reads like
reporter in my
translation
city
flub.
called
After
Neil
Super Mario
McNeil.
Brothers 3, Nintendo started naming Mario titles Super Mario Blank, Super Mario
There's also
Land,
John
World,
Johnson
even
III in the
spin-offs
NFL.
Like Super Mario Kart. It's definitely an evolutionary step for a franchise. When enough people understand your series, you no longer have to worry about your title being anything elegant. It just
That's
has
true.
to get the job done. Oh, what's this?
You just have to tell them.
Mario Golf. When you have so
Never
many
played
titles
it.
in a series,
F-Zero, never
it's
played it.
harder and harder to name each one something unique, making some titles interchangeable. Eventually, we got Super Mario 3D Land.
Zelda does a pretty
Super
good job
Mario
with titles,
3D
I
World.
think.
I mean, these do nothing
Never
to
played
describe
Zelda.
the actual games.
Never played
It's
those games.
Super Mario in a 3D land. Okay, well, what makes that so different from Super Mario in a 3D world? At that point, why wasn't the first 3D Mario game not titled something like this? And instead it was titled, and you fucking wonder why people don't take video games seriously. Super Mario 64.
Because
Well,
for the
title
Nintendo
scheme of
64.
including the console the game is on in the title. It really helps answering that question.
What Wii Sports? Oh, Wii Sport
Give me a
Resorts.
second.
Ew,
This
give me
can be
Wii
something
Sports.
fairly
And forget the
mundane,
resort.
like how many Super Nintendo games start with Super in the title. That means
Why?
Super Punch-Out, Super Soccer, Super Metroid, all fine and good, but I mean, for a game as serious as Super Metroid with the title screen being
Never
decorated
played.
with corpses, Super feels a bit like it takes away from how serious the game can be and almost seems to dumb it
There's
down to
Samus.
simply being Metroid, but bigger. But it's such an iconic
But
title in
bigger.
gaming that it just feels right. Super
Like,
Castlevania
all these-
4, though,
never
like,
played it.
You already sold me. If they just called it Castlevania 4, fine. If they
A lot of
just
these
called
were before
it
my
Super
time,
Castlevania,
obviously.
Fine. Super Castlevania would have made all the sense in the world, considering 4 is a bit of a retelling of the setup to the original Castlevania. But no,
Maybe
it
just
reads as
flip
if
a
there's
candle.
some standard Castlevania 4 out there I don't know about. Oh, the name is available. The Castlevania series does have a fairly consistent titling method, usually going
Okay.
with the subtitle of Blank of Blank. Rondo of Blood, Symphony of the Night, Circle of the Moon. Hell, some of these actually sneak in some cute acronyms. Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow was the first Castlevania on the DS. Castlevania
Oh,
Harmony of Despair was
you know what it means
released
for
on the
dual
HD
screens?
consoles at the time. Castlevania
Really?
Legends of Shadow Mirror of Fate, outside of being a prime example of 2 whole subtitles, both using the blank of blank format, released on the Nintendo 3DS. So Mirror of Fate kind of alludes to the illusion-filled screen on the portable, which a couple DS and 3DS games did a similar thing in their titles.
I never
Most of these
had
are
a
fine by
3DS.
me,
I don't
even
like
ones
the
that don't follow
3DS
the
or
format.
3D
Castlevania
things.
Bloodlines, I think about good names for vampire-based action games featuring distant relatives of characters from previous Castlevania games a lot.
Oh, you do?
And this one's a close second. So it shocks me to see the series stoop to the low of this. Witness tampering. Castlevania. Just
Okay, Castlevania.
Castlevania. Is there anything special about this one?
Nope,
Like,
it's just
a fresh start for the franchise. A reboot,
Castlevania.
a remake? No, it's just the first 3D Castlevania. Good for it. I got out of bed this morning, so I accomplished something too. Let's forget my dad was ever a thing. This is a scenario where the
I played this one.
subtitle
Didn't
for
play that
Nintendo
one.
64 games would have been completely
Did not play that one,
and in
but
this case,
wow.
most fans just end up calling the game Castlevania 64 because what else are you gonna call it? Well, yeah, but what system is it for? Nintendo 64 games. I feel
What?
like at least a
Armageddon,
third of the
Pilot
library
Wings,
must have 64
StarCraft.
in the title. With Super Nintendo using Super in the name,
Super Return of the Jedi?
being a standalone title and a
Super
Super
Battle
Nintendo game. What the hell does this number have to do with Donkey Kong? The use of 64 in these titles could oftentimes be confusing.
Why?
Does it imply this is the series' big leap into 3D? Super Mario 64 sort of set the precedent, so with a game like Mega Man 64, I'm sure many fans thought, oh, this is Mega Man's next big step. My
It's
next
not.
big step is going to Denny's for the second night in a row. It's a port
Is
of Mega
Denny's
Man
open at
Legends on
night?
the PlayStation. Well, just call it Mega Man Legends, or if your fetish is that crippling, Mega Man Legends 64. Duke
But I like
Nukem
Lego
64 was just
people.
the Nintendo 64 version of Duke Nukem 3D, but Doom 64 is an entirely unique
Ah,
entry in the
Doom.
Doom series, so much so that it received a modern remaster, yet many people
Really?
assumed it was just a port of the original Doom. But then you have Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards.
Didn't play that one.
What's the point of the number here? You already have a subtitle. Putting 64 in the titles of these games almost
I don't
feel
know,
like these
were they
companies
required?
reckoning to fans who only had the Nintendo 64. Like, hey, finally, a Mega Man for you!
Or maybe it's just
At
branding
least
for.
64 became an iconic
played
number
that
within
one.
the gaming community. It's so specific that when you put it in a title, people know what it means, and it definitely rolls off the tongue with a lot of these names. Monopoly for Nintendo Switch.
Monopoly Go is consuming my life.
Could you be more specific? This is a trend I will never fully understand. How some game titles do the For Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch Edition subtitle. I see
Why?
this mostly on that
City Skylines.
console, but other systems aren't immune. 9 times out of 10, a game
Don't
with
starve.
For Nintendo Switch in the title isn't like super optimized for Nintendo Switch or has crazy
Yeah,
unique features.
so-
it's the same as any other multi-plat version, and 9.5
It has
times
to
out
be
of
something
10,
with
it's a
Nintendo.
digital-only release, which means you can only find it by going on that system's specific storefront. No fucking shit. Oh, this is the Nintendo Switch
Xenoverse
edition?
2?
Really? Nintendo gets this treatment the most.
Hey, Yakuza?
I mean, Yakuza 1 and
Yeah.
2 HD on PS3, Yakuza 1 and 2 HD for Wii U on Wii U. To be fair, they've done this themselves.
Was it? There was a Call of Duty games on the
Smash
Wii.
Brothers for Wii U and Super Smash Brothers for Nintendo 3DS, but also with Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS, Brain Training for Nintendo Switch,
God.
etc. In many ways, I don't blame them, as, I mean, Smash for Wii U and 3DS have the same characters and roughly the same
The only
gameplay,
Smash game I
but
played
there
was
are some
Melee.
unique features on Wii U,
Forever
like swimming
ago.
and climbing ladders, different stages and modes across both games. They're different titles, but the same. So what else would you call them? But I think using the console's name in a video game title just goes to show how potentially lacking
Wii.
of character that specific game has.
I wonder why
Man,
that
you're
is.
no nonsense today. The identity of this video game is that
Mario Kart
it's on
DS.
a video game console. Sometimes I swear companies do this to mask what their game truly is.
I played
Rayman
Monopoly
DS, it's
with
Rayman
friends.
2. Rayman 3D. It's Rayman 2.
Never played Rayman.
Revolution. God damn, we get it. They're synonyms. Well, you think people are gonna buy these games because they think it'll be a completely new Rayman game? Judging on the back of Rayman DS and 3D make absolutely no mention of these being re-releases, and how I keep buying copies of Rayman 3D thinking it's not Rayman 2. It's clear this is another case of titling trickery. I'd honestly say this is borderline false advertising. Like Power Punch 2. There ain't no Power Punch 1. Which shows just
Wait,
how good
really?
the sequel is if they jump straight to 2.
True.
So this game was originally developed as a sequel to Punch Punch-Out!, but publisher Nintendo dropped out during production, so the developer just released it as their own original game.
So
But
why
since
did they
didn't have
keep
the
the
rights to the
2?
Punch-Out! Name, they renamed it to Power Punch and added a 2 to the mix, as I guess they still viewed it as a sequel. I mean, it just goes to show how powerful a number in a title can
Maybe they're
be
trying to
with
take the place of a
of
sequel that doesn't
billion-ass
exist.
Kingdom Hearts games released between Kingdom Hearts 2
Never
and 3.
played Kingdom Hearts.
Literally, there was a mainline
I
Kingdom
thought
Hearts
Kingdom
game
Hearts
released
and
on
Final
the
Fantasy were
Nintendo
the same
3DS
thing.
in 2012, and 1 year later, people still lost their minds over Kingdom Hearts 3 being announced at E3 2013, as if it's been so long since the last Kingdom Hearts. But you know what just rubs me
Oh,
the
there's
wrong
a Zelda
way?
game?
When a series flip-flops between using Roman numerals and standard numbers for sequels. Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3. I hope the fourth one uses tally marks and is a part of the Black Ops
Oh,
series.
no.
It's that inconsistency that doesn't necessarily bother me.
That's not Black
it
Ops.
just perplexes me. Like, why? Why are you like this? Especially when some games have
That's
subtitles
Resident
and
Evil
some
2?
don't. Like Resident Evil had this perfect.
I
string of
recently beat
sequel
Resident
names.
Evil 4.
And then 3 just had to include Nemesis in the
I
title.
did. I've done the remake
Sometimes
for all
it's
of
okay
them.
to stick out a little bit, and 3 thankfully wasn't the only one to do so. Resident Evil 7, Biohazard.
Did he
switched
skip
over to
Resident
Roman
Evil
numerals for
6?
This one. But it's all a part of the logo, highlighting the V, I, and
See,
part of
that's
the L
fine.
in evil to make a 7. Then the subtitle Biohazard is actually the title of the Resident Evil
In
franchise
Japan.
in Japan. So over there, the game is actually called Biohazard 7.
Tate, did
Resident
you tell me
Evil,
this?
with the
Or
7
was it
coming
Heidi
out
that
of the
told me
Z
this?
in Biohazard. Just everything about these titles and logos are so
I don't like
clever and
scary
cool.
games.
I love them. It is weird though that while the subtitle being Biohazard is great and all,
Is this still Resident
doesn't
Evil?
really
I don't
make a ton
know.
of sense for this specific game with this specific story. I'm not sure how well the term Biohazard represents it, as it's more of a cute nod to the series title in Japan rather than an effective subtitle. And also, even with the English logo using a Roman numeral,
It's
most
still called
official
Resident Evil
listings of
7.
the game give it a standard number 7. But then with the next Resident
Village.
Evil game, it followed the same format. Had the Roman numeral 8 in the logo. That's not a part of the official name.
kinda cool.
It's not Resident Evil 8 Village. It's just Resident Evil Village. Why is the logo like this then? It's
Is
like
it actually
Horizon
supposed to be
Forbidden West. They put this
Resident Evil
Roman
8?
numeral 2 right here, but never refer to it when
Oh,
talking
that's
about
not
the
the
game.
pause?
Maybe it's a pause button. But these
Yeah, that's what I was
specific cases,
thinking.
I can live with. Well, not for an extended period of time. They don't
What?
irritate me. They just perplex me. Now, sequel titles
Gears
that
of War.
do irritate me.
Recently played through all
irritate,
those.
More so enable. Removing the Resident Evil franchise's name
Grand
and
Theft
following
Auto.
entries, I just
GTA
don't
2,
like this.
never played it.
Feels cheap and tacky and lame. Like the game producers are trying to
Warfare
get
3.
hip
Oh,
people
my
lingo.
favorite.
Oh, people just
Gears of
know
War is really good
Gears.
too. We
Well,
played
you
that.
too.
Streamed that.
Gears of
I'm streaming
War
Undertale
5
right
takes
now
the
on
same amount of
Saturdays.
effort to say as Gears of War 2 does, and we were doing just fine back then. This makes Gears 5 feel more like a spin-off than the 5th main entry in the series. It oversimplifies the franchise down to one word, like this is the word for us. Gear?
Gear.
Would have stuck out more, simplifying it down to of. At least with Zelda 2, The Adventure
it's
of Link.
gold.
I mean, that's more acceptable due to Zelda
I plan on
being a
streaming
far
Zelda
more
games.
iconic word, a word unanimously used to refer to the Legend of Zelda franchise as a whole. But man, it still just doesn't feel right. This works better as an abbreviation for fans to use. Quick slang for your game title, not its legal name. At
But
least
this
it's
is a
still easy to
government
follow,
name.
You know, Gears 5 is the 5th main entry, Zelda 2 is the 2nd main entry. The third,
No, it's not.
Pirates
No.
love breaking from
Battlefield.
tradition to nab some attention.
Goat Simulator?
Sometimes the series changes for the better. Just Dance went from numbering the entries
To
just
year.
flat out labeling them by the year. Which, when your yearly music
Ah,
series
the
is
annual
basically
release
just
video
changing the
talked
song
about
list
this.
with each entry, that's a good change to make. Dance Dance
When's the
Revolution
video
always
come
felt
out?
the need to give each title
Oh, a
something
year ago.
unique,
Okay.
but it just overcomplicates everything. Like most of these subtitles are synonyms.
And it
For
still
some
sells really
series,
well. Oh, Madden. I never
man,
understood why they
it
did
makes
Madden.
sense.
Madden
Like
25.
Madden. Nothing but consistency.
Madden
They
25.
went from naming it John Madden Football to Madden NFL, going from abbreviations of years to full years, back to abbreviations again, and skipping John Madden Football 91. Okay, it's nothing but not consistency. However, ever since Madden
Madden
NFL 06, things have been smooth sailing.
Ma-
Can't wait to look at the title for Madden 14.
Yep. I used to play Madden games.
Well, I have to change my legal documents. The
Last
25th
will and
anniversary
testament.
of Madden. Sure. Oh, technically, this is the 25th entry in the series, but come
Yeah, why did they have to ruin it?
consider
It
this to be
made
a
no
real dumb
sense.
titling quirk done to just stand out while making your entire franchise more
Fallout 76,
confusing
the
to
only
keep
Fallout
up
game I
with.
played.
Oh yeah, Madden 25. That actually didn't release in 2024.
So what are they gonna
Battlefield
do
1.
next year?
First Battlefield
Or,
was
yeah,
Battlefield
next year. They're gonna announce
1942,
2020.
which was followed by Battlefield Vietnam, and then Battlefield 2, then Battlefield 2142, then Battlefield 3,
2142.
4, then 1, then 5, now with a Roman numeral.
And then
Battlefield
2042.
2042. Battlefield 1943 may seem like a sequel to Battlefield 1942, but it's just
not.
a spin-off. So what
It's
does
just
that
a
make
spin-off?
Battlefield
What?
1 a spin-off as well, since Battlefield 5 isn't called Battlefield 6? No, it's mainline, unlike Battlefield Online opposed to the other Battlefield games that play online.
What about Battlefield
Oh,
Hardline?
Now where does this fit in the picture? Battlefield
64.
Online was a Korean exclusive entry in the series that mainly took assets from previous games to make an online multiplayer-only PC game tailor-made for that market, which is a more common practice than you may think. Call of Duty did it with Call of Duty Online for the Chinese market. I just find
really?
the titling funny when pretty much all the other
Dude,
games
I remember
in
when you
franchise
played Call of
that
Duty
online
for the
play,
campaign.
acting like this is the online one. When Call of Duty
Oh, the
World
model
War II was
1887.
announced, I was pretty annoyed, like acting as if this was the first and only
I have
Call of
not
Duty
played
to
Call
do
of Duty
World
in
War
so
II.
long. I grew up
Understand
playing
it had
Call of
been
Duty.
a while since the last game focused on it, but titling it implies like, yup, this is the Call of Duty based in World War II. And
Yeah.
this is the
I had my
banana.
first banana doubts
At
video
least
on the
name it
Duck
something
Goes
like
Food.
World War II Returns or something. I don't know.
Returns?
Already having the issue of reusing titles. We had Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, followed up with Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
And now they have
2,
Modern Warfare
and later
3.
on 3. Then with some re-releases of the first Modern Warfare, the number 4
No,
was
then they did it
dropped
again.
with Call of Duty Modern Warfare Reflex Edition and remastered. And then the 2019 game launched, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. To be fair, no other game was named that. And then the sequel
Yeah.
to it.
It's Modern
To
Warfare
also be
2.
fair, the same applies. I just
It
wish
makes no
sometimes they
sense.
cut it with the reused titles.
Need for
I mean,
Speed.
I get it. They don't care if they have 2 games called Modern Warfare 2 because 95% of the people buying aren't going to be having colorful discussions on the state of the video game industry and will
They're-
never even reference a Call of Duty that released over 2 years ago.
That's
Most
fair.
of these consumers treat each new Call of Duty, Need for Speed, and Madden like a bag of chips. Open, consume, dispose of. So reusing the title and making this entry a confusing name in comparison to previous games, it doesn't matter. You can name the next Call of Duty Ice Smell. It would do just as well as last year's.
It would.
People
It would
just call
matter.
The Call of Duty for this year.
Last year's smelled better though.
But it also just rubs me the wrong way.
Sonic
When
Unleashed.
games with the exact
Never played a Sonic
same
game.
Name, logo, even Boxer release, and they are
What?
completely and utterly different.
Meanwhile, we had
You can no longer
Rayman.
just call the game Rayman Raving Rabbids. You have to specify Rayman Raving Rabbids, the Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, and PC version, or the Nintendo DS version, or the
Why?
Game Boy Advance version, because these
Why'd they
three
make a Game
games
Boy Advance
are
version? What?
nothing alike, being in different genres entirely. I feel that with these handheld versions of console games, they name them and market them as the same thing in a way to kind of trick unknowing consumers into
It's a-
thinking this is going to be the same game you see all the commercials for on
Yeah,
TV.
no, because
I mean,
they're
come on,
showing
do
the
you
other-
remember ever seeing the Game Boy Color version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater
No.
2 in the advertising? No, they just show screenshots of the PlayStation version, but lists Game Boy Color as one of the platforms. Oh, well, surely.
Wow, that looks
If this
so
isn't
close.
the real Tony Hawk 2, then what is? How many games are called Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, and how many of them are truly the same? You know, this
I
would
guess-
be a great opportunity
Monopoly.
to use that 4-game system subtitle, but no, just call this Jeopardy, and this will make sure the people know.
Oh,
But you know
thanks.
what's the most
On
depressing
the
thing
Switch
ever?
market.
You title a game with Volume 1, showing the intentions of this being a long and meaningful series.
And-
SNK Arcade Classics.
Oh, so you
Volume
start
1,
with
Best
Volume
of
1.
PlayStation Network Volume 1. Damn, it's almost like a Volume 2 exists.
It
Just
does.
like Madden 14. You gotta have a lot of confidence to put Volume 1 in a game's title, almost enough to
Dude,
ensure
next
that
year we're
Volume
gonna
2
get
is
Madden
probably already
25,
underway.
like next,
Is this
like,
used
August,
as a
September.
bargaining chip to get a sequel
Dog.
produced?
Oh.
It doesn't work. I will say something. I love seeing a prequel with the subtitle Zero. I just think it sounds
Yeah,
good.
not 'cause it's
feels
Zero.
good. It's
God,
the
Max was
perfect
video on
subtitle.
that.
It's a great buzzword on its own, and adding it to a franchise name, it's immediately obvious what it is. Earthbound released here in North America on the SNES,
Earthbound?
but is actually
That's a
titled
store.
Mother 2 in Japan, with the first game on NES almost releasing over here in English, but getting canceled at
Almost.
the last minute. What was called Mother in Japan was meant to be called Earthbound here, but since that first game got scrapped, when they brought Mother 2 over, they just called that Earthbound. However, that original
Okay.
English localization was eventually found and dumped online by fans.
Oh,
for people
God.
to download
So
and
now
play.
it's all
Since we already
confused.
had a game called Earthbound release, it just made sense for fans to call this
Earthbound Zero, because they couldn't make it
Zero.
Earthbound 2,
I couldn't
obviously.
think of anything better to call it. You can find fan-made reproduction cartridges of the game with this title, and
That's pretty cool.
it just feels right. But then, Nintendo decided to finally officially release the game
Why?
on the Wii U's eShop in 2015.
They-
What
they
did
call it
This
Beginnings.
Is one of my least
Why?
favorite titles ever.
Beginnings?
Sounds so dumb. I'm sure
Yeah,
they
it's
would
bad.
have loved to actually
I
call
agree
it
with him.
Earthbound Zero, but had to settle for beginnings because we don't want people to know fans exist. Sure, don't use the
Yeah,
word
we don't
zero,
want to
but
take
why
their idea.
beginnings? Why not Origins, Inception? Hell, Genesis is a synonym for beginning, and that would have been
That would have been much better.
It may have already
Not
been
as good
used
as
for the
Zero,
second
but
console, but there are other books of the Old Testament, Deuteronomy. But no, you pick 3 of the worst syllables I've ever
are there
heard.
I still don't know how to count syllables.
Some names just look and sound weird the first time you see them. I remember calling The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Zelda Wii U for years before it finally got its official name. And I thought using the word breath felt off. You look up any reaction to a new game getting announced online, and every single person posting a video has to say the title out loud when it appears on screen.
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate?
Oh, I wonder why they do.
Game.
Yeah, I don't react to that.
Oh, which hey, this game, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE.
Bless you.
Originally announced as a crossover between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem, titled none other
Oh,
than
Fire
Shin
Emblem,
Megami
okay.
Tensei Cross
I've heard of
Fire
that
Emblem,
one.
which we'll get to you later. Eventually was renamed to an unlocalized Japanese title for a bit, and then Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE. Yes, Sharp, not hashtag or number or pound.
Sharp.
Not sure why we needed this portion. I understand FE is an abbreviation for Fire Emblem, and many have pointed out how TMS backwards is SMT, Shin Megami Tensei. I have to give them credit.
Okay.
They found a way to incorporate both series titles into one while keeping this as its own separate thing, which is what it is. While originally planned as a traditional
Fair.
crossover
It's kind of a
between
mess,
SMT
but-
and Fire Emblem, it became more of an original game that just plays like Shin Megami Tensei, with Fire Emblem characters making appearances assisting the main cast who are completely new and original. So I guess the title was as good as we could get. I still think the Sharp FE is unnecessary.
Yeah, no, I
though.
don't know
If
why it
you wanted
needs to
to
be.
push
Why
as
is it
Fire
sharp?
Emblem's in the game. The title already barely makes any sense. Just throw it in there. But again, I guess they wanted to push this as its own original thing rather than specifically advertise it as a Fire Emblem game. Except they did just that in a few trailers they posted
cool.
online.
I don't even play this game.
Let's talk about
It's
that
like
pesky
almost like the
cross.
difference
Christ.
between
Kind of
marketing
my trend for a bit
department
there was using an
and
X between two words to
people who
symbolize
make
a
the games.
crossover and pronouncing it as Cross. Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, Project Cross Zone, which what is that? A tactical role-playing game featuring characters from Sega, Namco, and Capcom? Oh, I get the title now.
Letters.
Then they started moving away from the cross.
Mario
started
and
using a
Rabbids?
plus sign instead.
Rabbids?
Mario plus Rabbids, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Advance Wars 1 plus 2, Pro Skater 1 plus 2, Box Boy plus Box Girl. Just where did this trend come from? The plus
What
sign
are
I find
these-
to look a little juvenile. I don't like that. I'm too mature for this. I'm an adult who eats caviar.
That's not
Localized
caviar. I don't think.
titles.
I've never had it.
They just don't do anymore. I've been a little confused as to why Bandai Namco stopped using the English title for Taiko no Tatsujin. You know, Taiko Drum Master. We got it over here on the PS2. It's just a fun
It's
rhythm
literally
game
just
with
a
drum
drum-
peripheral. We only
What?
ever got this game in North America, but Japan just kept on getting these damn things. Finally,
They're
in
just a
2018,
drum game.
We got another localized title. The first Nintendo Switch entry in the series. Taiko no Tatsujin Drum and Fun. They didn't even try to change anything like they did with the PS2 game, changing the song list for North America. They didn't have the Jimmy Neutron theme in Japan. In Drum
Oh?
and Fun, it's nothing but Japanese pop songs, anime
Oh, yeah,
music,
that we're
the
all
works.
gonna know, right?
It's cool to see they're sticking to what makes Taiko Taiko. But like I said,
I've never heard of
it
this
just seems like
series.
they don't just call it Taiko Drum Master over here still. It's not like a butchered localized title. Taiko no Tatsujin roughly translates to Taiko Master of Drums. I guess because they're barely changing anything from the Japanese releases.
They don't want-
song-wise
yeah,
now,
that's fair.
They wanted to convey that through the title itself, which, thinking about it
If
that
you don't
way,
know the title, you're not gonna know the
now,
songs.
Europe, I have a question. Why? Mario and Luigi
Dream
Dream
Team.
Team. Good title. Games about dreams and Mario and Luigi teaming up. Brilliant.
'Kay.
Now, why do they have to call it Mario and Luigi Dream Team Brothers in Europe? To show
Why?
they did the math? This is one of the most peculiar name changes from North America to Europe. Second only to Mario and Luigi. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. Great title. Game's about a crossover between the Mario and
What do
Luigi
they call it
RPG
there?
series and the Paper Mario RPG series. Jamming them both together. It's absolutely
His bros just
What
slid
did their
through.
parents f***? Well, that makes even less sense. At least with
Paper
Dream
Jam
Team,
Bros.
it's like, okay, Dream Team and Brothers are related enough terms. Paper Jam Brothers just sounds like I'm ending one sentence and starting another.
Brothers.
Europe often gets
Hulk
these
Hogan.
over-explanatory titles, like Mario Strikers being titled Mario Strikers Football, Kirby's Return to Dreamland being Kirby's Adventure Wii, Star Fox being...
Star Fox.
I don't know.
Starwing?
But hands down, one of the biggest localization titling fiascos was the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy
I
1,
react to
2,
Final
and
Fantasy
3
VII
all
Mission
happily
Abridged,
came over from
and that's
Japan
when I
to North
learned that
America.
it's
Not
not the
Europe,
same thing
though.
as
They were
Kingdom
happy
Hearts.
just getting the spin-off title Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which was titled Mystic Quest Legend over there.
Even though I do
And
have-
all of a sudden in 1997, math. After Final Fantasy 3 came Final Fantasy 7 for Europe.
Oh,
After
Final Fantasy
one
7
Final
Mission Abridged.
Fantasy that wasn't even titled Final Fantasy came Final Fantasy 7. This was of course due to not every Final Fantasy releasing outside of Japan at the time. So
Shout out
we
to
never received
Subi,
the original
I think.
Final Fantasy 2 and 3. Though we did receive 4, they just renamed it to Final Fantasy 2 over here. Same with 6, we got it as 3. By the time Final Fantasy 7 launched, I think they realized how counterintuitive this was. Sure, you may not have released all the games over here, but you're not even naming them something different with a subtitle or something. So in the end, we have 2 Final Fantasy 2s and 2 3s. Eventually, they filled in the blanks over time. All the Final Fantasies became playable in some form throughout the world, so they did.
No,
this
there's
for the
some-
best. If they
no,
kept
it's
up
Metal
this naming
Gear.
convention,
He hasn't
Final
mentioned
Fantasy
Metal Gear.
10 would actually be Final Fantasy 7, which would be the stupidest thing I've seen all day.
It just turned midnight.
Skipping
It's
entries.
it's
is an
actually
uncommon
10
trend
minutes
with
till
video
midnight.
games. Hell, Dragon Quest still does it to this day, and actually went through a whole localization name change back in the day, titled Dragon Warrior here for the first few entries until converting to the original Japanese name Dragon Quest. This was
Sure.
due to another product already being titled Dragon Quest in North America, similar to why Star Fox's name had to be changed in Europe for a bit until the rights issues were figured out for later entries. Hey, it may be confusing, but
Kinda
thank
crazy
God
that
they
those
don't
issues
lie.
exist.
There's one thing I don't respect, it's a title that lies. Going back to
Third-
Final
wait,
Fantasy,
let's say 30
Final
great
Fantasy
games.
7 Remake. Is it a spoiler to say they're on thin ice? Not only does the game only cover the first, I don't know, third of the original Final Fantasy 7,
Oh.
now being split up into 3 different remake entries.
Why?
They changed
Probably 'cause
so
it's-
much and turned
oh.
it into a completely different game with a completely
Isn't that what
different
people said
story.
about
To be
Resident
fair,
Evil 3
they are
remake?
remaking it. Just because you remake something doesn't mean it's beat for beat. The title doesn't lie like crazy, but they obviously know what they're doing. The box art and logo, the opening, it's all supposed to give the vibe that this is the original Final Fantasy VII,
But
remade
it's
for
not.
modern audiences.
It's the
in
remake,
reality,
and they're
it's
like,
an alternate
psych,
take
there's
on
2 more.
FF7, so calling it this is kind of misleading. There's no getting around
Like,
it. Though I
abridged.
can understand and agree with arguments in its favor. Dreamcast Collection gets no sympathy. That's a damn Sega Saturn game. Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition.
That's a
Alright,
mouthful.
I used the word the
On
in
the
title
Switch?
twice. No, 3 times. I just
didn't even
find
know
this
that
to
was a
be
thing.
sloppy one. The
Grand Theft
trilogy,
Auto's on the
definitive
Switch?
Edition. But on top of that, definitive edition. Yeah, okay. Definitive edition should only be used
Hyrule
when, like,
Warriors?
yeah, no shit. Xenoblade Chronicles definitive edition is definitely the definitive way to play.
Oh god, what's his name?
And then when it doesn't include
Oh,
some
what is his
content introduced
name?
in Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, like, he could have just called it Xenoblade Remastered.
He has
you
a
know?
cool
Don't
sword.
even get me
March of the
started on
Penguins
movie
for
games. Like,
DS?
isn't it kind of weird when a game based on a movie still has the word movie in it? Like, I get it, it's based on the movie. You can't just call the game based on the SpongeBob movie anything but. That's why it's good
The
to be more
B
specific
movie
sometimes.
game?
This isn't B movie. This is B movie game. Just call it B game. Oh, I'm sorry. That's already taken. But you
Oh,
know
it
what
is.
really rubs me the wrong way
What?
with many games like this is when you have to have the presenter at the beginning of the title. It's not Tarzan Untamed. It's Disney's Tarzan Untamed.
Oh.
In a game like Epic Mickey, it's not even Disney's Epic Mickey. It's just Disney Epic Mickey. Where does it go on an alphabetical list? Is this Guilty Party or Disney Guilty Party? Is this
Oh,
Cars the
that's
video
so
game,
true.
or Disney Pixar Cars the video game?
Yeah, where
It's
does
like
it go in
everybody just calls
alphabetical?
the series Civilization, not Sid Meier's Civilization.
I have
but
Civilization.
that's
I have
what's
Civilization
on the
6.
game's
I've never
spine.
played
So
it,
when I
though. My
alphabetize
friends play it.
games, do I do the right thing the wrong way or the wrong thing the right way?
There is no right
Alphabetizing
way.
games
That's the
definitely
problem.
makes you see these things in a bit of a different light. Like how some Mario spin-offs swap between titling themselves Mario and Super Mario, which can get kind of annoying when games like Super Mario Party and Mario Party
Just do them in
Superstars
chronological
are on
order.
the same console. Now they go in different spots on the shelf. Then when you have sequels to games that always start with a
Tomb
different
Raider?
word, Tomb Raider,
Yep.
Rise of the Tomb
Yep.
Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Played those
The
like
first
last
game
year.
is last year. The World Ends With You to Neo, The World Ends With You. Why couldn't it have been The World Ends With You Neo? Especially
I
when
don't know.
making Neo the core title of this game. Like, there's already Neo games on the PlayStation 4. But this Neo is supposed to be a futuristic feeling variant of the word new, which we already get enough of. New Super Mario Brothers, new Pokemon Snap, new Super Lucky's Tale, new Carnival.
Wait, they actually
games.
put
They went
new
from Carnival games
to new Carnival games.
Back to Carnival games again.
And they say taxes
So then
are complicated.
they are.
I get it. The word new is
Oh.
very safe. It makes sense in many regards, like with new Pokemon Snap. Yeah, you could name
Did
it
they
Pokemon
originally
Snap
take
too.
the new part
The game
away?
is more about doing the same thing the original did. Again,
You really
like
just
doing
take
its own
pictures of
game,
Pokemon?
so new Pokemon
They
Snap
run.
makes sense. You could call it Super Pokemon Snap or something, but new works in this situation. Same with new Super Mario Brothers. The problem is when you make 9 more of them, you
Afterwards?
start to question the authenticity of the word new.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
It can
mean
become
anything.
incredibly confusing. New is always used to describe the condition of your video game. New Super Mario Brothers. Used.
Yep.
The word
Used.
kind of implies it's just an
Yoshi's
improved,
Island.
updated version of an old thing, when in most cases, it's actually a direct follow-up or successor. But parents will just look up new Super Mario game for their kids, and this is always what pops up.
Yeah, because
That
it
must be
types
why it
new.
sells so well. But if they were willing to use such a
Maybe.
marketing-friendly term for one Pokemon game, dear God, why not this one? Pokken Tournament, a Pokemon fighting game in the style of Tekken.
It's a chandelier.
And 2 names are combined. I don't know why they didn't just call it Pokemon Tournament. I get the
That would've been
point they're
better.
making, but you do realize the game would do infinitely better if you stop being cute about it. Just do what Ubisoft did, okay? They
Gods
made a
and
game
Monsters?
called Gods and Monsters. That
What's in it?
works.
I have no idea what that is. Immortals.
Isn't it
What?
the worst when the working title for a game is better than the final title? Like, I prefer
Oh.
the working titles for Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy because they gave me hope for a future that never happened.
Oh.
My uncle for putting me through so much misery. If it wasn't for letters, I wouldn't have to know why this pisses me off.
Band
Just
hero?
despite him, I'm not gonna use letters anymore.
What are you
I
gonna do?
can damn well use words. And I'm gonna spread them, telling everybody how we're done using letters. And by proxy, titles. Can't be pissed if I can't read.
Can't read either.
Or I'm dead. So, say
That-
goodbye,
Mr.
Mr. Bones.
Mr.
And
Bones.
please welcome. What?
Welcome what?
Man, I wanna play tennis.
Which one's tennis?
What have I
Pick
done?
up the phone. That's fair. That's completely fair. So this was the most like comment on the last video, which was the annual release. Let me know what the next one should be. If you see one you agree with, definitely like it. It's kind of like your way to vote for it. I do read every single one of your comments. This year I've read over 50,000 comments, and I will have uploaded over 900 videos, which means I've uploaded 1,000 videos in the last 13 months by the end of this month, because last December I did 100 videos. I do it all myself, and I read all your comments, which is absolute insanity. I really hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope I made it just tired a little bit better. I love these Scott the Woz videos. I learned a lot about video games I've never even heard of, and I look forward to watching and learning more about them. There's a bunch of JonTron videos on my channel in case you enjoy these, and there's a lot, like, it's some of these characters like Samus and stuff like that. There's a death battle playlist on my channel as well where I met a lot of characters. Typically, if there's a death battle on my channel, most of the time it's a character I've never heard of. So if you see a death battle reaction from me, chances are it's me going in completely blind. That's probably why I have a pretty good record. But I hope you have a wonderful rest today, and I hope I made it just a little better. I hope you're subscribed to those future Scott the Woz videos. But until the next one, take care and keep the music.
We were playing as soldiers.